Good afternoon. Your early news, first at 5, is coming up next. And coming up, winter like we remember it in Rochester.
This is Doug Embledge. I'll report on the storm from the storm. Coming up.
Not everybody thinks our weather is a hassle. For some, it's simply child's play.
Some heavy snow already falling across western New York. It looks like it's tapering off. I'll have the forecast.
Coverage of the storm, extended coverage of the storm coming up.
It is all coming up on First at 5.
The Greater Rochester Antique Exposition is here.
Itches like mad.
Try Scalpicin, hun. Sure stopped my itch.
Scalpicin, the revolutionary penetrating scalp medicine for deep scalp itch, not ordinary dandruff. Scalpicin is not a shampoo. It's a clear, unscented liquid you don't wash away like shampoo. Scalpicin works directly on your scalp, not on your hair, with deep scalp itch medicine chosen by doctors over these dandruff shampoo formulas.
The itch is gone.
Scalpicin stops deep scalp itch.
From WOKR, Rochester. This is News Source 13, first at 5.
You're looking live at what's proving to be a treacherous ride and walk home. The first snowstorm of 1994 is giving us a good taste of winter and leaving us with more than 1.5 feet of snow. A half a foot of snow. Good afternoon, I'm Ginny Ryan. Doug Embledge will join us in a moment. It's not unusual, but it is a nuisance. Today's snowstorm forced most schools and some services to close early. And now it appears the impact of the storm will linger into the evening. Among some facts you need to know, driving can be dangerous. Portions of the thruway have been shut down, and people in counties east of Rochester are being told to stay off the roads. There are many cancellations tonight, including night classes at MCC, RIT, and St. John Fisher College. All area malls are closed. If you must head out tonight, please call ahead. And as for tonight's Michael Bolton concert at the War Memorial, it's been canceled but has been rescheduled for tomorrow. Let's get the latest update now on the weather from Chief Meteorologist Bill Peterson.
Jenny, because of the weather, here's what's going on right now. We have limited travel and some roads closed. What we're looking at now is they're urging limited travel in Monroe and Livingston County, all the counties then to the east, which include Wayne and Ontario, Yates, Seneca, and Cayuga counties over there. Steuben County will in fact close their roads or have already closed the roads in just the last half hour. So there's no travel in through this area, limited or necessary travel only in most of our viewing area. Western areas, still roads are slippery, it's still covered over there. You need to use care if you're heading that direction. Here's part of the reason that some of these things were closed. You can see a foot or more of snow in the eastern part of the state, anywhere from about 6 to 12 inches in through most of our area, with more to come. Live Rochester radar shows we still have some snow occurring, but we're starting to pick up now what appears to be the trailing edge as this system pushes off to the northeast. We're looking for about another 1 to 3 inches tonight for most of us. However, up along the lakeshore, we're going to see some north of the thruway lake effect kick in later tonight. That could bring an additional 2 to 4 inches on top of that 1 to 3. The worst is over, but there is still more snow to come, and I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. Jenny?
Thank you, Bill. Doug Embledge has been out covering the storm all day long, and he's still in it. He joins us now from Henrietta Live. Doug?
Jenny, I think the biggest difference between when we were out here around midday today is that the wind has died down. There was no wind this morning, just snow. Then the wind really kicked up later on, and it seems right now the wind has died down. It's almost kind of a gentle, pretty snow that's falling right now. But as you look behind me on West Henrietta Road, you can see that the roads are still snow covered, so the going is a bit rough. This storm slowed the morning commute and city schools as well, and then it got worse. The drive to work was slow for a lot of people. It was downright dangerous for others, like this man whose car slid into a truck on Empire Boulevard. He was taken to the hospital with a hip injury. The driving would get even worse. The snow kept coming and the wind kept blowing. Steve Jones decided he'd clear his parents' driveway, then spend the night. The drive to Leicester in Livingston County would be too risky.
Well, I got out of work early, came over here to do my mother's driveway, went and got my son from the babysitter. I'm not going home because I live 30 miles away.
When it snows, everything we do outdoors becomes more difficult, like pushing a shopping cart across a snowy parking lot. This woman got some help from a fellow shopper. But Norm Carlson says this storm isn't slowing him down.
Not at all. I got out of work early today, so I'm kind of pleased. So I'm going home, sit in my hot tub, watch a couple of movies, and have a margarita.
Ed Albrecht and his daughters are not taking it easy. They have a driveway to clear the old-fashioned way.
Well, yeah, well, we need exercise. Gets us off our butt.
And you got some help today?
Yeah. Well, they got cars. They got to help.
Well, the one way that this storm really affects just about everybody, including in addition to having to shovel out their driveways, is the travel. It's in the getting around, whether we are walking somewhere or flying somewhere. And I really think we can't emphasize enough what Bill mentioned earlier, that if you can avoid the travel, don't go out. Stay home. It's not worth the risk. In fact, Wayne and Ontario counties have closed their roads. There's no unnecessary travel in Wayne and Ontario counties tonight. All travel there prohibited. Also closed to traffic, part of the New York State Thruway. It is closed in the 130-mile section between Utica and Rochester. The thruway could be reopened later tonight, depending on how the storm develops. Now, we've been watching the snowfall all day. Tom George has been watching the traffic all day long and is here to tell us what the latest is on getting around town. Tom?
I'm going to enforce what you've been saying, Doug. First off, state police recommend no unnecessary travel here, but people have to get home. That is necessary. If you're waiting for them at home, double, maybe triple the travel time that they would normally take. All Monroe County roads are open. We just talked to Frank Dolan, superintendent of highways. He tells me all roads are open. All roads are snow-covered. Hills are extremely treacherous. Speeds are greatly reduced everywhere, especially in the heavy volume areas. Again, the thruway closed from Henrietta to Utica, and counties adjacent to Monroe, Wayne, and Ontario counties, all roads closed except for emergency vehicles. With the traffic, I'm Tom George.
All right, Tom, thanks. And as we mentioned, this may be a typical secondary road. Route 15 in Henrietta, still snow covering here. The airport is open. We repeat, the airport is open. That does not mean you can head over there and make a quick escape to warmer climates. Air travel is hampered all around the East Coast because this is a big storm, so Rochester greatly affected by that. To check in with the latest, Patrice Walsh is with 13 Live at the Greater Rochester International Airport. Patrice, what's happening there?
Doug, you took the words right out of my mouth. The airport is open, as you said. It looks a little bit like a ghost town because many others along the East Coast are closed. That has affected many flights. Many are canceled, many are delays. And air travelers who hope to get there by bus or train were also stranded. And as Doug mentioned, the thruway was closed between Utica and Rochester, forcing many people to turn around. The best advice, you heard it from Tom George, you heard it from Doug Ebledge, stay home unless you don't have to go anywhere. Everything's closed anyway, it's safer that way. Vita Beasley has our next story.
All right, Patrice, thanks a lot. She does. Travelers weren't the only ones who were inconvenienced by the winter storm we're experiencing. We live in an age of working couples and working parents who didn't have the day off, had to find care for the kids who did today. News Source 13's Vita Beasley talked with some of them.
Driving snow and frigid temperatures, it was the kind of day that only a kid could love.
The adventure of going down here in a blizzard and being almost the only people out here. Hi, you guys!
Many schools cancel classes. Others, like the Holmes Road Elementary School, send students home early. That left many with free time. The weather provided wintertime fun for kids, but some parents were left scrambling to find daycare.
Well, at least I know when I drop her off, she's safe. She's inside, she's warm, she's going to be well taken care of.
At this Brighton child care center, the number of kids began to increase with early dismissals from suburban schools. Staffers say they were prepared to handle the rush.
We do get children from schools that are drop-ins from other schools that aren't normally here on a regular basis.
Daycares like this one that stay open despite the weather outside provide peace of mind for parents who are often forced to go to work. This center's only closed twice during the past 3 years, once during the ice storm and again during the '93 blizzard. That's a comfort for mom Stacy Meeker. Stacy says if you've got to deal with this to go to work, it's nice to have a place you can count on to care for your kids, even though some kids only care about making the most of a day off from school. Vita Beasley, News Source 13.
The storm of the century, that storm we had back in March, I think is still fresh in a lot of our minds. This did not measure up to that, but it was serious enough that it caused at least an inconvenience for just about all of us. For others, there was tragedy in the storm today. As we too often have to report in a storm, we have to tell you tonight that one man did die. He was shoveling his driveway and suffered a fatal heart attack. And unfortunately, this storm is more than just an inconvenience for the family of that man. Ginny?
Doug, thank you. If it's any comfort, we are not digging out alone. The snow is piling up from North Carolina to New England, all along the East Coast. It is what's known as a nor'easter.
It's probably not how most of us envision the land called Dixie. Parts of North Carolina's northern hills received up to a half a foot of snow. It's an unusual sight for many youngsters here who enjoyed a day off from school. The further north you travel, the whiter things become. Areas in western Pennsylvania have been among the hardest hit, and motorists are being told to stay off the roads.
I would classify it as an extreme storm in terms of depth. We have over 12 inches of snow on the ground and 6 more coming. I think the morning rush hour was moving relatively okay, but we're having some difficulties now. Traffic has slowed up even more.
It's also havoc at our nation's airports. In Newark, flight delays of up to an hour and a half are not uncommon. Oh, yeah, by the way, people in Southern California are in the process of enjoying a heat wave. Temperatures there are summer-like, reaching as high as 90 degrees.
Just keep that picture in your mind. But that is little consolation for those here in the east. In fact, conditions are so bad in some locations, the National Guard has been called in to assist. Schools were closed today in 14 states. There is still more extended coverage of today's storm coming up at 6 on News Source 13. Patrice Walsh will continue her look at its impact on travel. She'll find out if all that snow is taking its toll on people going by rail. And how about those of us who turn the white into green? Jim Redmond introduces us to people making money off the storm. And chief photographer Paul DePascal shows us who was ready and who was not for today's snow. And still to come on First at 5, a new effort to stem our nation's gun violence. And we'll share the dramatic rescue from a family swimming pool where the victim is a 3-year-old horse.
Isn't it about time?
Family and friends gathered to pay final respects to one of the victims killed in last week's bombing here in Rochester. Funeral services were held for Richard Urban, who was 42. Urban was killed along with his girlfriend when a package bomb exploded at their Snug Harbor Court apartment last Tuesday in Rochester. The Clinton administration is hoping to fight shady gun dealers by making it hurt where it really counts, in the wallet. Treasury Secretary Lloyd Bentsen has announced a plan to raise dealers' license fees to $600 a year. The current fee is only $10. The International Association of Chiefs of Police says this is a good step towards stemming the nation's crime problem.
No one action in terms of gun legislation, whether it be Brady Bill or the regulation of gun dealers by itself, is going to solve the crime problem. But I think in combination, these actions are very important to get a grasp on violent crime in America.
But the National Rifle Association calls any dealer fee increase unjustified. A new effort is underway to slow the spread of AIDS through an ad campaign encouraging safe sex. The public service announcements are explicit and cover issues like condom use. The radio and TV ads target young people between the ages of 18 and 25. 4 major broadcast networks have agreed to air the ads probably after 11 o'clock at night. Rescue workers in Florida are getting credit for a life-saving effort in which the victim was a horse. Home video captured the dramatic rescue. Brandy, a 3-year-old filly, fell into a family swimming pool. Firefighters used a rope to pull Brandy out of the water. Her owner pushed from behind. With the pool's temperature below 60 degrees, time became crucial.
If she'd have been in the pool another half hour, we don't think we could have saved her. It was that cold. She had completely lost any hope or any will to get out of the pool altogether.
Brandy made it out of the water. She was quickly covered with blankets and given some painkillers. Her owner thinks Brandy has probably learned her lesson and will likely stay clear of the swimming pool. Relief from all of that snow outside may soon be on the way. Chief Meteorologist Bill Peterson is up next with a look at his forecast.
News Source 13 Chief Meteorologist Bill Peterson's weather forecast is approved by the American Meteorological Society. Coming up next.
A message to all of Faye's competitors. When people want to remember a special moment, they capture it on film. So like Faye's, you need to use only Kodak paper and chemicals and replace your unattended drop box with a certified photo specialist, a person who is always there to help, whatever the need. And because Faye's knows how much you look forward to your photos, we guarantee your pictures will be ready the next day, or they're free. Faye's, obviously not your average drugstore.
You've got your ranch dressing and your Italian. Ranch, Italian. Hey, looking for a solution to that rut you're in? Then try Kraft Catalina dressing. It's spicy and sweet. A tasty creation that's anything but ordinary. So even if you're a rancher or an Italian, you'll love the change to the spicy sweet taste of Catalina.
It began with the suicide of Clinton advisor Vincent Foster. Not only is he being linked romantically with First Lady Hillary, but new allegations make him the key figure in an even bigger scandal that could rock the White House to its foundations. If you think you've heard all there is about the Vincent Foster connection, think again. Hear the latest on the man at the center of a scandal that threatens the presidency on the next Current Affair.
A Current Affair, today at 5:30, only on 13.
Today's weather stat is brought to you by Isaac Heating and Air Conditioning.
This is Doug Embledge with a weather stat of my own. It's still snowing outside, though not as windy, almost pleasant out there, except that the roads are still snow-covered. One man just drove by me on West Henrietta Road here and said, tell him the thruway's closed. We already did. On to other things on a Current Affair coming up at 5:30, including something on the scandal that could threaten the Clinton presidency. That's at 5:30. At 6, more coverage of the weather. We're standing in now. Don Elhart's in the newsroom with more on what's coming up at 6. Don?
Well, Doug, we are here with Jim Redmond, who tonight takes a look at the economic impact of today's stormy weather.
Don, a number of businesses have had to close today. The malls are closing early, and what this has is it affects every aspect of our life. There are also people who look forward to this kind of business, mostly people who are in the snow business, and they say there's snow business like snow business.
We saw a few people out getting a few shovels, windshield washer fluid today, all of that and more coming up tonight at 6. And we'll see you then with another Embledge update weather stat. Back to you, Jenny.
Yeah, some guys have all the luck, don't they? Dug out there all day, getting a feel for things.
The fresh air and enjoying it.
We want to know what he said to the boss to get out there.
I got a couple of ideas, you know, but...
It's been quite a day
Yeah,
for you.
the worst is really over with now. We will see probably another 1 to 3 inches of snow for most of us before it tapers off, but there will be some lake effect snow that is also going to develop then around midnight, and that's going to bring additional maybe 2 to 4 inches, and that will continue through tomorrow morning for some spots. But here's what's happening right now. We still have a winter storm warning in effect through this evening for most areas, the exception being Genesee, Wyoming, and Ontario counties. We have snow being reported now. It was earlier snowing about 1 inch an hour. We reported, I believe, 9 inches now so far at the airport. Our temperature at 20 degrees, humidity high. Now here's part of the problem. Winds are from the northwest, but they really did not pick up like we had anticipated. Right now at 12 miles an hour, gusting at times to about 20. We really had anticipated about 25 to 35 mile an hour winds. That really would have added to the inconvenience we're seeing out there right now. Our pressure is rising and a dew point at 18 degrees. this was a very typical East Coast storm. Brought up the eastern seaboard, a lot of snow along the eastern seaboard, right in through all parts of New York City. In these areas saw a combination of rain and sleet and snow. We, however, in the colder air did see mostly snow across the area. Looks like we're going to wind up with about 10 inches for most of us. Of course, we'll update you again on those exact amounts from our spotters at 6 o'clock. Northeast radar, you can see that most of the brunt of the storm has now already pushed to the north and to the east. We're starting to see the amounts taper off. Let's go to live Rochester radar right now. This has changed considerably. You can start to see a clearing back here and then to the south. Where it is snowing, still snowing fairly steadily and quite heavily, about a moderate snowfall. So as I said, look for about 1 to 3 inches for most of us, right up along the lake shore through parts of Monroe and Wayne County and Genesee County. Tomorrow could see some lake enhancement to that snow, so we'll keep you advised on that. The jet stream flow staying to the south of us. It's going to stay cold here. Temperatures, well, it looks like it's going to get down into single digits and low teens tonight across the area and stay cold for the next several days. Lake effect snows now another 1 to 3 inches. 14 degrees will be our low tonight, with the Finger Lakes getting down to around 8 or 9. For tomorrow, again, some lake effect snow in the morning, an additional 2 to 4 inches possible in some areas, tempering off to flurries by noon. And finally, in the afternoon, some sunshine, but you can see staying cold. We'll update you on road closings and all that stuff again tonight at 6.
All right, thank you, Bill.
You bet.
Rich Becker is up next with First at 5 Sports. Last night was a surprising one in college basketball. Rich will show us who beat who, ending a long losing streak.
Dryness a problem in your home? Then have an April Air whole house humidifier installed for optimum humidity all season long. Hurry, it's drier than you think. April Air, the best cure for dryness.
Call Bedlam Residential Heating and Air Conditioning at 271-HEAT.
Olympic champion Kristi Yamaguchi. See why her tour on ice is a dream come true for terminally ill children on the next ET.
Entertainment tonight at 7, only on 13.
Good morning. And now let's meet our Employee of the Year.
So unrewarding, that plain bagel, when for 100 calories more, you could start each day with Philly cream cheese. All that luscious Philly. So cool and creamy on a warm, toasty bagel. For 100 calories a serving, you had no idea.
Real go-getter. Ladies and gentlemen, Diana Miller.
A bagel without Philly is just plain silly.
If you waited to buy carpet, the wait is over. Tomorrow, it's Max Buy's one-day store-wide warehouse sale. Thousands of rolls slashed up to 70% off and available for immediate delivery. Tomorrow, from 2 to 9 p.m. only. Carpet values from $35, now as low as $8.88 a square yard. No extra charge for pad or installation. 12 months interest-free. Plus great savings on DuPont Stainmaster, America's standard for carpet quality. And remnants and area rugs reduced up to 70%. Max Buy's one-day store-wide warehouse sale tomorrow only, 2 to 9 p.m.
Everyone's busy because of the weather, except you guys. It's
the beautiful thing about sports is when everybody in news is busy, usually we are not. Yeah. So, but it will definitely be a quiet night tonight. A perfect record for Mother Nature today, 69-0. 69 events scheduled for Section 5 teams, and all of them canceled due to the weather. Check with your individual schools for when events will be rescheduled. Now, if last night's Niners-Eagles game meant anything, it would have gone down as a Monday Night Football classic. Instead, it was just another long football game. Let's check out some highlights that we have for you tonight in the latter stages of the game. Watch the Eagles' Bubby Brister throw the screen pass to Herschel Walker, and Big Herschel takes it all the way in to give the Eagles a 31-24 lead. But late in the fourth, Niners on the drive. It's Steve Bono finding Dexter Carter on almost the same play. Carter takes it down to the 13-yard line. They kicked the field goal to tie it. We went to overtime, and after 2 missed field goals, one each by each kicker, Roger Ruzak finally ended the thing on the final play of overtime. 37-34 is the final score. Staying in the NFC East, he was the Redskins defensive coordinator for 15 years, but head coach for just one. Richie Pettibone is out as Skins head coach, fired today after a 4-12 season, Washington's worst in 3 decades. He's not the only coach on the unemployment line today, though. The Falcons fired Jerry Glanville. Atlanta 6-10 this year. No replacements announced for either position. No weather problems for the Emmerichs. They're in St. John, New Brunswick tonight to meet the Flames. It's game 2 of their 6-game maritime trip. And finally tonight, a great night for St. Bonaventure last night as they met number 23 George Washington. Bonnie's looking for their first Atlantic 10 win in 18. Finally did it. Harry Moore with 22. He had the basket right there, but the big bucket was made by Jeff Quackenbush. The bucket and the foul and that was the one that put St. Bonaventure ahead to stay, and they win it last night by a 71-67 final. First win for them in 18 tries in the league, and they get it over a very good team.
All right, thank you, Rich.
Okay.
We'll turn now to activity on Wall Street today. The stock market rose 18 points. Volume was heavy as 322 million shares changed hands. Now stocks of local interest.
At Thomas's English Muffins, I'm proud to bake them like Mr. Thomas baked them, over 100 years ago in England. Now that's a muffin.
Thomas's English Muffins. There's a baker behind every nook and cranny.
Buy a City mattress in any size you like. The matching box spring is only 94 cents. A good night's sleep for 94 cents.
Monroe County roads are all open right now. However, state police recommend no unnecessary travel. The road conditions across the county are snow-covered. Hills are very treacherous. Speeds greatly reduced. If you have to travel out, at least double your travel time to get to where you have to go. We have numerous accidents and disabled vehicles across our Monroe County expressways. Real problems to the east of us. First off, the thruway closed from Henrietta, exit 46, to Utica, exit 31, till further notice. Also, roads in Wayne County and Ontario County closed except for emergency vehicles until further notice. See you in the morning with Lake Effect. Now back to Jenny at the news desk.
Thank you, Tom. Doug Embledge is still outside keeping track of the weather conditions for us. We join him again live. It's been a long half hour, Doug.
Actually, you know what? It is not all that bad out here, and I'm thank you. I'm all, in all seriousness, I say that because it is kind of a pleasant situation compared to what it was in the middle of the day today. That's not to say that driving is pleasant. As Tom mentioned, some of it is very hazardous still. I can give it the old kick of the foot test and see there's still a lot of snow here on West Henrietta Road. It's still slippery, and as we've been mentioning all day long, most events, including the Michael Bolton concert, are off for tonight. Michael Bolton is on for tomorrow. Getting around is everybody's challenge in a snowstorm. That was true even downtown today for people who didn't have to drive. People have to wait out in the snow. People have to walk through it, walk through the slush that's left. And, of course, there are ways to take advantage of it. Cobbs Hill Park and other places were busy today with kids who were off from school. And they took advantage of some good sledding weather. So it's not all bad, Ginny. And we're going to check in with Bill in a bit and find out when it's all going to end.
Thanks, Doug. And I presume we'll go back to you out there to check the conditions at 6.
What the heck?
We'll see you tomorrow on First at 5. Thank you for watching. A Current Affair is next, and we'll have more news in a half hour on News Source 13.
From WOKR, Rochester, this is News Source 13, Rochester's source for news.
A long night of work is ahead for road crews as more than 12 hours of steady snow comes to an end. Good evening, I'm Don Elhart.
And I'm Jenny Ryan. We are under a blanket of snow tonight. Depending on where you are, it's between 8 and 12 inches deep.
For the latest on what is ahead, we get an early first look at our weather. Chief Meteorologist Bill Peterson has joined us now to tell us what we can expect as we look ahead to not only to tomorrow, but I guess the rest of the week as well.
We talked about this at 6 o'clock, that the worst was over at 6 o'clock. We will continue to see flurries off and on. And off the lake, we're probably going to see a couple of inches of snow, but most of us, the remainder of tonight, are only going to see about an inch. Now, for tomorrow, take a look at that. The snow will last through the morning, and then I think by afternoon it will start to taper off. As you can see, our temperature will be 16 degrees during the day tomorrow. Live Rochester radar, if we can take a look at that, you can see just a hit and miss flurry here and there. As I said, most of the accumulation, inch or less across the area, but getting cold and staying cold tomorrow. I'll be back to talk more about what Thursday will bring, because another storm headed this way.
All right, thank you, Bill.
You bet.
Okay, so how did we handle all of this snow? Well, safe to say life went on, albeit at a slower pace around town today. Mark Hayes joins us live outside to show us how it went. Mark?
Well, Don, the near foot of snow that fell on us put many of us in a winter slow motion today, and we were forced to make some adjustments. Schools closed, and many businesses didn't stay open past 6 o'clock. So the task now is to make sure tomorrow morning's commute is a safe one.
10-4, and I'll close them out at 7 o'clock. Are they okay the first time?
Ann Daniels is working overtime to help get Rochester's streets plowed.
He's supposed to be meeting him at Charlie Brown's.
Going to meet him at Charlie Brown's.
But when 10 inches of snow falls on Rochester, one word describes what it's like in here.
Hectic. In a word, hectic.
Ann is coordinating the routes for city snowplow drivers. She says this is when they really earn their money.
I don't know who this is that's going to be 10-7 on North Drive. It can be very difficult. It's because there's a lot of things going on, a lot of different things going on in the same place on the same frequency.
Ralph Contraire is one of the drivers on the other end of the line.
The day's been pretty tough.
Ralph has been driving for 20 years. One thing he knows is snow.
Well, there was a lot of snow out here.
At times, it all seems like a blur, but Ralph says the public must realize his purpose.
What we're out here to do is make sure that people are safe, and really, we're saving lives.
Sergeant Gary Puttup is also in the business of saving lives. Tonight has been pretty quiet for the deputies in B-Zone, except for one freak incident.
We had one tragic incident tonight where a 56-year-old man began shoveling the snow on Lehigh Station Road here in Henrietta, and subsequently had a heart attack and passed away.
But those incidents can't be controlled, and here at City Dispatch Center, Ann Daniels stays in control, working toward a common goal.
To clear the streets and make them safe for pedestrians and cars.
Now, Ralph tells us that most of the plowing in the city has been completed. They're going to go back over some tough spots where cars were parked and that sort of thing to get back at them to try to clean things up for the morning rush.
Kind of an all-night effort, and you said that morning rush hour. I imagine things will probably be still a little bit slippery tomorrow.
Definitely, Don. I believe that tomorrow morning the commute is going to be a little bit slippery. Travelers, give yourself some extra time and follow the sheriff's rule of decrease, increase. That means decrease your speed and increase your following distance, because once your car gets going, remember, it has to come to a stop.
Okay, we'll let you come to a stop right now and get in out of the cold, and thank you for your report. Mark Hayes, outside tonight. Jenny?
The storm kept many people from getting out of Rochester tonight. About half of the flights scheduled to depart and land at the Rochester airport had to be canceled because of severe weather problems in other cities. News Source 13's Patrice Walsh joins us in the newsroom now with more on how this affected local travelers. Patrice?
Ginny, many travelers are spending the night in Rochester because the weather prevented them from reaching their destinations. The storm stranded not only passengers at the airport, but also those whose job it is to get people where they need to go.
Passengers aren't the only ones stranded by the bad weather. Pilot Joe Peck is supposed to be in White Plains to sign one of the most important deals of his life. Instead, he's spending the night in Rochester.
Well, I have a house closing tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and we were supposed to be out and done with work today around 3 o'clock, but this morning at 6:50, airports down in the New York area all closed because of freezing rain. We were stuck all day long.
Peck and fellow pilot John Statler are among the more than 35 stranded travelers spending the night at the airport Holiday Inn.
I think a lot of people look at us kind of like we were supposed to know better, or we were supposed to do something about it, but unfortunately, like a lot of the people stranded on the road, some things you just can't do anything about.
We had a lot of rooms available, as everyone does in town this week, because it's still, a holiday period of time. If it was to happen in the next week or the week after, it would be a very difficult situation because of the demand for corporate business rooms during the week on a Tuesday night. So.
Air travelers here were not stranded because of conditions at our airport, but because of problems in other cities like Syracuse, which got a lot more snow.
Crews at the Greater Rochester Airport kept up with the blowing snow using special plows to keep the runways clear and de-icing equipment to prepare planes that were able to take off. Even so, half of the scheduled flights had to be canceled because other airports in the east shut down. This was just as frustrating to airport pilots and crew members. as it was for passengers.
Really, we just hope that the weather gets a little bit better tomorrow, and we can get some of the people that we didn't get to take to their destination today. We'll get them there tomorrow.
Things are looking up for tomorrow, but if you do have airline reservations, it is still best to call ahead first. We do know that Trailways and Greyhound will reopen tomorrow at 7 in the morning, and all regularly scheduled buses should be running on schedule. Again, call first to double check. Amtrak tells us all trains are running on schedule, no problems are expected. And the New York State Thruway has now reopened within the past half hour. It had been closed, Ginny, as you recall, between Utica and Rochester for most of the night. It's now, though, open for travel.
Things seem to be improving.
Yes, it's good news.
Thank you, Patrice. A number of surrounding counties remain under snow emergencies tonight, despite the improving conditions. Cayuga, Wayne, Ontario, Seneca, and Yates County shut down roads tonight. The situation in each area will be reevaluated in the morning after the plows make runs on the main roads.
And a lot of calls tonight about school closings. This is the only one that we know of to pass along right now. Holy Rosary School in Rochester will be closed tomorrow, and that was a delay actually in fixing a boiler problem because of the weather, not directly related to the storm itself. Any other closings, you'll have to wait till tomorrow morning. Storm shut down a number of activities. It was supposed to be a public hearing on a proposed stadium for the Red Wings. That's been postponed. No new date set. The Michael Bolton concert at the War Memorial will be held Wednesday night at 7:30. Trash collection in Rochester will be delayed one day for the rest of the week to allow for crews to concentrate on snow removal.
We were not alone dealing with this storm. In fact, 14 states got socked in by the snowstorm. All along the East Coast, the snow fell without let-up, and winds kicked up, creating whiteout conditions in many areas. Several inches fell in the Boston area, closing Logan Airport. States of emergency were posted from the Carolinas to Maine. LaGuardia Airport in New York City was one of several airports that shut down. New York got 6 inches and some freezing rain. In Pennsylvania, more than a foot of snow fell in some places, and the National Guard was called out to help people stranded by the snowstorm.
And of course, News Source 13 will continue to follow the effects of our winter weather.
Mary McCombs and meteorologist Glenn Johnson will have the updates beginning at 6:15 in the morning. We'll have any school closings and delays throughout the day.
And of course, Tom George will be here with traffic reports, giving you road conditions to get you through the morning rush hour safely tomorrow. And as Bill said, more to come on Thursday. We'll wait for that as well.
Get it all over again.
Yeah. On to some other news now. Governor Cuomo will deliver his 12th annual State of the State address tomorrow. In this election year, the governor expected to call for a corporate tax cut and welfare reform. Cuomo said today he still hasn't decided whether to seek re-election, but he says he will make that decision soon. The governor also heard today from AIDS activists who say he is not living up to his promises when it comes to fighting that disease. The group Gay Men's Health Crisis says Cuomo reneged on 21 of 24 important promises in a 5-year-old AIDS action plan.
The Clinton administration is out with a new campaign to help stop the spread of AIDS. A string of television and radio ads hit the airwaves tonight. Health Secretary Donna Shalala says the message is simple. To prevent AIDS, abstain from sex, but if you're active, use a condom.
It would be nice if later.
This campaign is focused on young adults because studies tell us that young Americans are more sexually active than ever before, and they are not taking proper precautions.
But some AIDS activists say the campaign does little to help the public because the ads don't instruct people on how to use a condom.
On another topic, the Clinton administration wants to get guns off the streets by putting some gun dealers out of business. Treasury Secretary Lloyd Benson wants to raise the fee for a license to sell firearms from $66 to $600 a year. Benson says it would discourage all but legitimate dealers from obtaining permits.
We have about 284,000 gun dealers. 284,000 gun dealers. We have more gun dealers than we have McDonald's restaurants in this country. Why so many? It's cheap. The best bargain in town.
Those comments from Treasury Secretary Lloyd Benson, who says he also wants legislation to make it a felony if a dealer fails to keep or falsifies any of his records.
Next, from your news source, paying last respects for a victim of last week's bombings.
Also coming up, hope for people with Parkinson's disease thanks to research on fetal tissue.
This portion of News Source 13 is brought to you by Perkins Family Restaurant.
Perkins answers an age-old question. It's the egg. 3 eggs, in fact, stuffed inside and out with incredibly delicious things. We call them limited edition omelets, like country style with sausage, chicken fajita with grilled chicken and spicy salsa, and hearty steak and potato with choice sirloin. You can get these limited edition omelets at Perkins all day, which means we'll probably be needing quite a few extra eggs.
A message to all of Faye's competitors. People don't always become ill during regular business hours.
I got a frog down my throat. Sweetie, you don't feel well?
So like Faye's, you need to have a pharmacist in the store whenever the store is open. After all, what's a pharmacy without a pharmacist? Trust. One more way Faye's is serving customers better. Faye's, obviously not your average drugstore.
Nothing compares. It's still Rochester's leading bridal show. Bridal Hall's 26th annual Bridal Showcase. Sunday, January 23rd, Holiday Inn downtown. See all that's new from the world's foremost bridal designers. Great ideas to create that perfect total look for your wedding party. Advice from the leading bridal-related businesses. Sign up for your free tickets at these participating merchants or call Bridal Hall 225-3500. Bridal Showcase, January 23rd, Holiday Inn downtown.
The Fowler family death notice for victims of last week's bombings went out this week, but Brenda Lazor-Shavir was left out of that notice. Police questioned her but say she is not a suspect. Today, family and friends of another victim, Richard Urban, paid final respects. The 42-year-old Urban was killed along with his girlfriend when a package bomb exploded at the Snug Harbor Court Apartments last Tuesday.
He's going to be missing for the rest of my life, but since I was able to see him for the last time, I'm going to remember him since Christmas Eve of '93, how he looked.
Richard Urban's girlfriend, Pamela Lazor, will be remembered along with other victims on Friday in a service to be held near Buffalo.
This is a big week for the suspect accused of killing 6 people on a Long Island commuter train. A judge is hearing arguments on whether Colin Ferguson is competent to stand trial. 2 court-appointed doctors today testified that Ferguson is competent to stand trial. Now the defense will get a chance to present evidence sometime before Friday.
Postal changes to pass along, some immediate, others contemplated. The latter concerns a possible increase in postage, speculation centering on raising first-class rates from 29 to 32 or 33 cents. Don't look for that, though, until 1995. And what is in effect, though, are some new rules concerning mail forwarding. One change aimed at protecting battered women would protect people who don't want new addresses given out.
There is what could be promising news for people with Parkinson's disease. The government has okayed the first grant for fetal tissue research since the ban was lifted last year by President Clinton. 4 different groups will study the effects of implanting fetal tissue into the brains of people with Parkinson's. Some people have already received the implant.
What has been exciting, even about that very first patient, is he actually got better over a period of years. He could walk better 4 years after surgery than he could a year and a half after surgery.
Researchers believe the fetal tissue implants could eventually be used to treat other nervous system disorders.
And an update for you tonight on country music star Tammy Wynette. She is improving. Doctors at a Nashville hospital took her off the critical list today. She is still in intensive care. She is recovering from an infection of the bile duct. Doctors say she may go home in the next couple of days.
We're going to hear more about the snow coming up from Bill Peterson.
And Chief Meteorologist Bill Peterson will be here later in the week. He says some more snow is on the way.
News Source 13 Chief Meteorologist Bill Peterson's weather forecast is approved by the American Meteorological Society. Coming up next.
Hey Rochester, here are 3 great reasons why Runs on the Ridge is #1 in quality and value. Now get 3 lobster tails with salad bar and choice of potato for just $10.95 with beverage purchase. Or prime rib and lobster tail with beverage purchase, only $7.95. And treat yourself to twin lobster tails and prime rib for $13.95 with beverage purchase. Look for our specials and value-added coupons in next week's shopping bag. Only at Runs on the Ridge, Ridgemont Plaza, Greece. Call 227-2510.
It's hard to believe for almost 10 years we've been telling you Christo cares. And now we're out to prove it once again. I told my staff to do whatever it takes to make you a Christo Ford customer.
I'm Pat O'Brien, sales manager here at Christo Ford. With over $4 million in inventory, we have the car or truck you're looking for. And as Pete says, our sales staff has been told to do whatever it takes to make you a happy Christo Ford customer.
That's right, Pat. Show them we care.
We all care at Christo Ford.
When is the first day of spring?
March 21st.
I just want to look ahead.
Forever the optimist, right?
Yeah.
You just said it's going to be a long winter.
Long winter.
His forecast.
I'll tell you, we had an early start. We had a major snowstorm back in October, another one now, and we will probably get another 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 before the season is over with. But hey, you know, today we handle it fairly well, and the remainder of the night should be improving conditions as far as road surfaces go and everything else. Take a look at our time lapse. Now, this is how this storm really ended overnight tonight. This was about 6:45 tonight. You can see the light snow to the west of us, the heavier snow to the east. We begin picking up the flurries now coming off the lake. So it's a little lake enhancement too is what we're seeing, but it really dissipated fairly quickly during the nighttime hours. Live Rochester radar right now, staying on the 50-mile range. You can see that just nothing but a passing flurry or two across the area, really not significant. I think we'll see some lake effect snow redevelop during the night tonight. Current conditions being reported now at the airport, cloudy skies. Our temperature has finally dropped 1 degree since 6 o'clock. At 11 p.m. we're now down to 20. Winds from the west. It's part of the reason that lake effect snow has not developed. I think they'll become a little more northwesterly during the night, and I think we'll see probably right up along the lake shore in the neighborhood of about 2 to possibly 4 inches, and by this time tomorrow we may actually see about 6 inches in some spots, but most of us will see about 1 inch of additional snow now in the next 24 hours. These are snowfall amounts updated at 11 o'clock. You can see a foot now in East Rochester. Pavilion called in 5 inches of snow over there, 14 for the skiers down at Swain, and over to the east temperatures also in the temperatures. Snowfall amounts in the double. It's been a long day, folks. So does 13 inches of snow around Decoit. Had 11 inches. Now here's what we think is going to happen as far as the lake effect snow. Most of us 1 inch or 2 at most, but right up along the lakeshore could see 3 to 6 inches. Also parts of Genesee and Wyoming County could see another 3 to 6 inches of snow. These are temperatures, 20 here in Rochester. It is cold over in Syracuse. Syracuse got about 18 inches of snow today. There was a band of snow through the central part of the country of the state where they got almost 2 feet of snow over there. The satellite photo, 3D view of the satellite, you can see most of the brunt of the storm is now pushed to the east. Over the last 15 hours, this is how this storm moved up the east coast. You can see it just takes all that moisture with it. But there's another system back here that's pushing this way. We will see some lake effect flurries tomorrow, maybe a little sunshine. It's going to be cold tomorrow. But what we will see then is another system back to the west, headed this way for Thursday. Here it is. You can see a lot of snow back in through the northern plains. It's going to dip to the south and then push this way late in the day on Thursday. Our travel forecast for tomorrow, if you're going to the east, temperatures will be in the 20s and 30s, and back to the west in the teens and 20s. Lake effect snow showers tonight, most of us about 1 inch. We could see up to 3 to 4 inches overnight in a few areas. Kind of northwest winds. Our temperature about 14 degrees. For tomorrow, temperature staying in the teens. I think the snows will taper off in the morning hours, and then we'll see some sunshine in the afternoon. Our 3-day outlook on Thursday, look for increasing clouds, some snow developing late in the day. More snow and possibly lake snow on Friday. Temperatures will be in the 30s but falling, and partly cloudy on Saturday and 22 degrees, but finally, I think some sunshine.
Going to seem very good.
It really will.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay. Right now we take a look at our daily and win for numbers for the lottery today. The daily number 821, the win for combination 0631. And now time for our live Tuesday night drawing. We take you to Schenectady.
It's New York Lottery's Take 5 drawing, observed by an auditor from Coopers & Lybrand.
Good evening and welcome to New York Lottery's Take 5 drawing for today, Tuesday, January 4th, 1994. Where players can win cash prizes by matching 5, 4, or 3 numbers, or a free bonus ticket by matching just 2 numbers. Now for tonight's Take 5 numbers. The first winning number is 10. Tonight's second winning number is 22. The third winning number is 6. Tonight's fourth winning number is 24, and the fifth winning Take 5 number is 28. Tonight's winning Take 5 numbers are 10, 22, 6, 24, and 28. For the New York Lottery, I'm Maxine Gibbs. Thank you and have a good night.
And coming up next, Rich Becker with a look at sports.
Don, it's a good night for the Amerks and the Maritimes. We'll tell you how good. And it's a battle of the NBA's top big men. O'Neal versus Ewing at the Garden. Highlights coming up next in News Source 13 Sports.
32-31. The big guys can do it all.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
But it always seems like you're too small.
Now let's play on my turf.
Chuck E. Cheese, look at all you can do. You can hit, you can score, cause it's made just for you. It's such fun, you're number one.
Yeah, I won.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Just one more time.
Where a kid can be a kid.
Critics call Heaven and Earth magnificent, spellbinding. It lifts the human spirit. A truly great film from Oliver Stone, Heaven and Earth. Rated R. Starts Friday, January 7th at a theater near you.
These are the best weeks to buy at Sears. Get our lowest price ever on this large capacity Kenmore washer and dryer pair. Just $246 for the washer, $196 for the dryer. Save $76 on the pair through Saturday. Now during Sears' best weeks to buy.
To succeed today, a small business has to look for every competitive advantage it can find. Here at Office Max, you'll find 6,000 of them.
Save on O'Sullivan's Swiss Army Desk, the first complete office work center with a roomy hutch, spacious cubby holes, large storage area, and a pull-out printer cart and keyboard shelf.
You want to take your business to the max? Take your business to the max. Office Max. The office product superstore where savings is the bottom line.
The shows did go on in some parts, despite the snow.
Yeah, a few cancellations. No, Section 5 dropped last
Nothing here. But nationally, everything went on as scheduled. Not like that storm we had a while ago where nothing went on. But it was a good one tonight down at Madison Square Garden. Pat versus the Shack at MSG tonight. Part 1 as the Knicks played host to the Orlando Magic. And John Starks was the big man for the Knicks tonight down at the Garden on the run. Starks will pull up and nail the three-pointer. He had 39 on the evening. Knicks had a 54-40 lead. Now to the Shack, who was his usual self tonight. Watch him work hard, pushing Ewing. O'Neal gets the rebound, turns around and jams it over Anthony Bonner. Gets the foul. That cut the Knicks lead to 75-72. Want more, Shack? Well, here he is against Ewing, this time to the skyhook, which goes. Both players had 26, but Ewing had the last laugh on the pass from Starks. Ewing well above the rim for the jam. Ewing and Knicks get the win 100-95 tonight down in New York City. Now, after less than 24 hours after saying he would not stand in the way of a trade, Isaiah Thomas did just that, saying no to a trade to the Knicks. Reports are out now that he'll sign a contract extension with the Pistons tomorrow that includes part ownership of the team, then retire after 1994 to become, get this, team president. It's a good life for Isaiah Thomas. His team in action tonight against the Chicago Bulls at the stadium. Take a look at the action right here where it's Bill Wennington taking the nice pass for the jam, and the Bulls had an early lead. But the man who could replace Isaiah Thomas, Lindsey Hunter, from way out, three-point range is good. And Pistons were back within 2, but this one was Detroit's tonight. Scottie Pippen on the penetration, gives it over to Horace Grant for the basket. And tonight was a win for the Chicago Bulls, 97-91. That's 8 straight losses now for Detroit. Atlanta, huge over Charlotte tonight. Elsewhere in the NBA, Indiana over Cleveland. Miami beats New Jersey. Philadelphia loses to San Antonio. Houston over Portland, 33 for Hakeem. College basketball tonight, Connecticut and BC winners in the Big East. And Roberts Wesleyan beats Virginia Intermont 96-77 in the Maryville tournament. Alvin Mobley was the MVP. First it was off, then it was on. That's Syracuse's exhibition game with the Veric AAU team tonight. The game was played at Manley Fieldhouse, that because the Carrier Dome had to be deflated due to all the heavy snow we had today. Syracuse won the exhibition game 107-105 in front of empty stands. No fans were invited due to the inclement weather. Game 2 of the Maritime Trek for the Amerks tonight as they visited New Brunswick and the St. John Flames. And how about this one? After trailing 2-0, the Amerks came back to win it in the third period. Sergei Petrenko scored his first goal with 1 second left in the third period. Petrenko comes up, picks up good time for his first goal. The Amerks win it 5-4. Bill Pye, 32 saves tonight for the Amerks. Now let's check out the NHL tonight where the Islanders were playing down in New Jersey. This is first period action, 1-0 Devils when Pierre Turgeon, the former Sabres, scores on the breakaway to make it 1-1. Scott Stevens would give the Devils the lead back though with the score tied at 3. His slapper finds the mark. beats Ron Hextall to make it 4-3. And how about this fight later on? That guy just skating by, that's Mick Vukota right there, who came from off the bench. Right there was Zelapukin getting into a fight. That's going to cost Mick some time off, because you can't come off the bench to fight in the NHL. 6-3 Jersey over the Islanders. Darren Pupa with the shutout tonight for Tampa Bay. That's 26 saves for Pupa tonight. Chicago and Dallas tied at 1-1 in overtime. And Detroit and St. Louis. That game is now tied at 4-4. St. Louis has just scored 4-4 in the third. If you tuned in for high school hockey, basketball, wrestling, volleyball, or bowling tonight, you're out of luck. Snow postponed the entire Section 5 schedule. Games are expected to be back on tomorrow at some of the schools in the area. To the NFL now. During his 4 years, Jerry Glanville did some strange things in Atlanta. One thing he didn't apparently do enough of is win. Therefore, he was fired today. One thing he didn't do as well is make friends with all his players.
I really didn't, care for Jerry that much, because he really didn't care for me that much. Ever since my holdout in training camp, that's personal contract business. That doesn't affect how I can come out and play. And if you hold it against somebody for a contract, you're not going to get along with him the whole time.
Jerry, you're supposed to like the players. Joining him as coaches without a job is Washington's Richie Pettibone, fired after his first year ended at 4-12. And finally tonight, who's that with the genie? Why, it's one of the Philadelphia Flyer wishes. Eric Lindros, the Flyers superstar, hit the Spectrum ice for a skate with the cast from Aladdin on ice tonight. No word of Lindros if he will be checking out the magic carpet or anything like that. So.
Have you seen Aladdin?
I have not.
You were asking me about the character.
I was trying to figure some character that Eric could meet tonight, and the magic carpet is what we came up with.
Jenny's got the video on her desk, so you can...
I'll plug it in after the show tonight.
Okay, you can have it. When we come back, one last look at our weather.
Buy a City mattress in any size you like. The matching box spring is only 94 cents. A good night's sleep for 94 cents.
Hi folks, John Ino from Gabrielli Ford. It may be ice cold out here, but these prices are red hot, so let's get right to it. How about this 91 Taurus, a loaded car, automatic and air and much more, only $5 down, $139 a month. Or this beautiful 92 Saturn SL1 for only $5 down, $169 a month. Or how about that 91 Explorer with automatic 4x4 and much more for only $5 down, drive that home. So what do? You pick up the phone, you dial 293-3100, or better yet, come on down.
The annual January Spectacular is going on now at Sun TV with big savings throughout the store. Save 10 to 40% on selected TVs, VCRs, camcorders, and home audio. Save 10 to 40% on selected computers and accessories. Save 10 to 40% on selected refrigerators, washers, dryers, microwaves, and much more. This is a once-a-year event at Sun TV, so you know it's got to be big. Don't miss the January Spectacular going on now at Sun TV, where you know you pay less.
A message to all of Faye's competitors. Photographs allow people to share special moments. So like Faye's, you need to offer larger prints every day. Plus, a choice of a free roll of film or a free second set of prints. Every day is free day at Faye's.
And now you can get ProPack Plus free with photo processing. ProPack Plus is a convenient way to view photos and now available free at Faye's.
Faye's, obviously not your average drugstore.
Mercy Flight Central provides immediate medical transportation for the acutely ill or critically injured 24 hours a day, every day. For information on how you can become a part of the Mercy Flight Central support team, call 396-0584.
Here's a first look what's happening tomorrow.
We will continue our coverage of the first storm of this new year. Mary Bubala will have live reports all morning long as we check the morning commute.
Governor Cuomo will deliver his annual State of the State address. It's expected to be one of New York's toughest years.
And we'll tell you about a plan to help finance long-term health care for elderly residents here in Monroe County. Some advances to build on when the opening bell sounds on Wall Street tomorrow. The Dow climbed over 27 points today as 323 million shares were traded. Here's how we did locally. A word of explanation on Kodak. The stock has split. Eastman Chemical has been spun off. So if you're a Kodak share owner, you'll also have some additional shares of Kodak Chemical.
And we've got time for one more look at the weather.
One more and the last for tonight, folks. Tomorrow we will see some lake snow in the morning. Our temperature about 14 degrees, and then those flurries will taper off by afternoon about 16 degrees. All warnings, all watches, as far as the weather is concerned, has been canceled. Now there are still some county closings on roads and things like that, but I think everything should be up to speed in the morning. It's like a fairly decent drive time. The road crews have done a good job through this storm.
I'm still curious about the carrier dome. When you say they deflate that,
Yeah,
the snow doesn't go in there.
When the snow comes down at a high rate of speed, I guess, or a high rate of accumulation, if it sits on top of the dome too long, it creates too much pressure, so the dome falls down. I know you really wanted to hear this long explanation.
No, but I went, so they lower.
So they lower it, and then they shovel it out.
It's snowing 3 inches an hour over there one time today.
Syracuse got really hit.
Yeah, the heat inside can't keep up to melt off all that snow, I'm told by Jim Gilchrist, our producer, who used to live in Syracuse.
Hey, and you heard it here.
Only on News Source 13.
Where else? Hey, that's our report for tonight. Murphy Brown up next, followed by Nightline.
Mary McCombs and Glenn Johnson will have the latest on the storm and any postponements beginning at 6:15 in the morning.
And we leave you now with a look back at our first major storm of 1994. Enjoy the pictures. We'll give you a dome update tomorrow and more right here on News Source 13.